world, this is Deke Sharon. I'm here to answer a question for you, a question that may be bubbling in the back of your mind, a question that many people have to answer for the first time, particularly in high school groups, college groups, new professional groups. And the question is this: how do you take an arrangement that's performed live and turn it into something for the studio? Good question. Now, this question is predicated on the fact that you will be going into the studio and single tracking your voices, one person in front of the microphone at a time. If you're not aware, modern a cappella recording usually involves recording one person at a time. You use a pitch and a click track. Maybe it's a MIDI file that's taken from your digital arrangement. Maybe you're singing over your own rehearsal recording. Bottom line, if you record one person at a time, it allows you to go in and edit those parts. You can clean up the tuning, the rhythm. The thing is, with modern a cappella recording, a lot of it is sounding so full and rich, like a song on the radio. How do you do that? What do you do to the live arrangement? And you don't want it to sound like wildly different. You're not looking for 120 parts, but what are a few things you can do to fill out the arrangement, make it sound a little fuller? All right, you ready? Here we go. Step one, add pads in the back. What's a pad? A pad is ooh or ah or oh or humming, a chord that just sits there. Maybe it's whole notes that just tie through the background. So if you've got one chord and it goes, and this is the chord you might have in the background, ooh and ooh, simple triad just rolling along in the background. It fills everything else out. When everybody takes a breath, you'll still have that there. It's almost like a quiet synthesizer pad playing in the background, tying everything together. It creates a little bit of glue that tells your ear, like, this isn't just a live recording, this is something a little bit more. Number two, take single lines and you can turn them into 2-part and 3-part harmonies. So what do I mean by this? I think along the lines of the way that Simon and Garfunkel will take a melody and then spin it into 2-part parallel harmony. Or the Dixie Chicks can take a melody and turn it into 3-part parallel harmony. You may have a background part, and if the background part goes do 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 do, you could put a part on top of it that goes do 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 do. Maybe you don't have enough voices to do this live, but in the studio you can take and spin things out a little bit more and punch them up. Number three, you can add harmonies to the lead vocal. Same thing I was talking about for the background parts, you can do to the lead vocal. Pretty straightforward. Like I said, Dixie Chicks, Simon and Garfunkel, it's classic, it works well. We love the sound of it. Our music is based on harmony from voices, so when you go in the studio, if you're 5 people, you have the ability to sound like 8 people. Unless your vocal percussionist is an amazing, unbelievable, one of the 3 best in the world, you're probably going to want to spin out the vocal percussion. What do I mean by this? I mean, have a clean track of kicks, a clean track of snares, a clean track of hi-hats, have your vocal percussionist drum through the whole song, and then you can go back through, get a really good kick sound, and you can drop that kick sound everywhere the kick drum hits. Same thing for your snare, same thing for your hi-hats. And what you'll have is a multi-tracked vocal percussion part that follows what's done live, but has a real cleanliness, allowing the kick to be really rich and full, and your snares to be snappy and precise, and your hi-hats to ring. Live vocal percussion, where amazing live, sometimes sounds a little too sloppy when you get in front of a studio mic. So for all your vocal parts, you're going to want to double, maybe triple the voices so that it gives you a little bit of a warmer, fuller sound. But don't double your vocal percussion and don't double your bass part. Unless you're going for a bass line that sounds choral and it's kind of warm and rich, like a whole string section being bowed, what you want is a clean, sharp, precise bass line where you hear the attacks and you've got one clear fundamental pitch that everybody's tuning to. Another thought for you is the idea that a great artist knows when to stop. Being in the studio is not about adding more because you can add more. Being in the studio is about making sure that the character and the emotion of the song remains paramount, and that feeling people have when they're hearing you perform live is something they're getting just in a more controlled sound environment. So make sure that you keep that heart in the song. That every single person, when they're performing alone in front of the microphone, is singing with just as much power, just as much presence, just as much heart as they do when they're on stage. And then make sure that you don't keep adding stuff just to add more stuff. Less is more. You go out and you listen to Home Free, you listen to Pentatonics, you listen to Straight No Chaser. These are the biggest a cappella groups out there right now. And all of them have been staying pretty true to what they do on stage. So when you listen to collegiate a cappella albums, they've got 120 stacked up voices, all this cool stuff going on. But most of the really successful professional groups out there are delivering a sound that remains clean and clear, that's reflective of what they do on stage live. There's a purity to it, and people want to hear the voices. So don't go too far. Know when to stop. All right, hopefully these tips have been helpful. If you have any questions, of course, post them down below. And of course, if you have any questions you'd like me to address in an upcoming Too Many Notes, you can also just post them down below. You just put whatever you want down below. Just put recipe. I love dense chocolate cake, maybe with some orange flavor in there. Like, post it down below. Have a good holiday season. See you next time.